80% of our oceans remain uncharted. But what if I told you the greatest mysteries aren't in the abyss? They're in the things we've already found. Across deserts, mountains, and even library shelves lie objects that shouldn't exist. Technologies that appear centuries too early, and structures that laugh in the face of modern engineering. Some have been explained away by science. Others continue to defy it. But all of them share one thing. They don't fit neatly into the story we tell about human history. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on 7 discoveries that remain stubbornly unsolved. Real artifacts, real places, and real puzzles that won't go quietly. And our first mystery takes us beneath the frigid waters of the Baltic Sea, where divers stumbled upon something that looks less like geology and more like a crash site. Before we dive in, if you love uncovering mysteries that challenge history, hit like and subscribe to Stone and Bone. Now, let's head to the Baltic Sea. It's 2011. A Swedish treasure hunting crew, Ocean X, scans the Baltic with sonar. They expect shipwrecks, maybe coins, maybe lost cargo. But what shows up on their screen is something else entirely. When the divers descend, things get stranger. Lights flicker, radios cut out, compasses spin like carnival wheels. One diver even blacks out, and then the silence. Divers described it as too quiet, as if the water itself had gone dead. Headlines explode. UFO at the bottom of the Baltic. To some, it looks like the Millennium Falcon frozen in stone. To others, the ruins of an Atlantean temple. But geologists had a colder answer. A 2012 study suggested the anomaly was nothing more than a glacial deposit. Ice Age rubble shaped by glaciers scraping across the seabed. Nature, not aliens. A moraine ridge masquerading as mystery. And yet, samples from the site didn't play along. Some rocks resembled volcanic material, impossible in the non-volcanic Baltic. Others showed signs of being heated to extreme temperatures. Ocean X swore the symmetry was too deliberate, too architectural to be a trick of ice and stone. Skeptics countered that Ocean X was hunting fame as much as treasure, that the mystery was good business. But here's the problem. More than a decade later, with sonar maps, rock samples, and dive logs, the anomaly still hasn't been pinned down. Too structured for simple geology. Too irregular for clean engineering. So what exactly rests at the bottom of the Baltic? A relic of the Ice Age? A sunken structure? Or just a reminder that sometimes Earth's strangest shapes are carved not by hands, but by time itself? Locked away in Yale's Beinecke Rare Book Library sits a manuscript that has driven experts to obsession and madness. The Voynich Manuscript, written in the 1400s, looks like a normal medieval text. Until you open it. Its pages are filled with a language that no one on Earth can read. Flowing symbols that follow grammar and rhythm, yet match no alphabet ever recorded. Illustrations of plants that don't exist. Constellations that don't match the sky, and women bathing in bizarre biological diagrams. For decades, codebreakers and cryptographers have tried. During the Cold War, even the NSA studied it, convinced it might hide a secret code. In 2019, a Canadian researcher claimed he'd cracked it, an early Romance language. Headlines screamed, "Solved," but linguists tore it apart. The translation didn't hold up, and the mystery deepened. Some scholars believe it's a medical text in a lost dialect. Others, a clever 15th century hoax built to dazzle wealthy collectors. But here's the catch. If it's a hoax, it's too perfect. Over 200 pages, no slips, no nonsense gibberish. Only a consistent, ordered system. That's why cryptographers argue it behaves like a real language. One we no longer know. So what is the Voynich Manuscript? Forgotten tongue? An elaborate prank? Or the last surviving relic of a knowledge system erased from history? 6 centuries later, the book still stares back, legible to the eye, unreadable to the mind. In the 1930s, archaeologists near Baghdad unearthed a small clay jar. Inside, a copper cylinder and an iron rod, harmless on their own, but put them together. Fill the jar with vinegar or lemon juice, and you get electricity.
Clearly see that it exceeds beyond 6 volts.
This artifact, dubbed the Baghdad Battery, dates back nearly 2,000 years. If genuine, it predates the discovery of electricity by over a millennium. Some scientists believe it may have been used for electroplating, covering objects in thin layers of gold or silver. Modern replicas have produced measurable currents, but skeptics aren't convinced. They argue the jar could have been a container for scrolls, or a ritual object. No wires, no switches, no evidence of an electrical culture has ever been found nearby. Why assume a battery at all? And yet, the design is undeniable. Copper, iron, electrolyte, everything needed for a galvanic cell, all in one place. Coincidence? Or experiment? The Baghdad Battery sits in limbo between curiosity and revolution. Maybe it was nothing more than pottery misinterpreted. Or maybe 2,000 years ago, someone in Mesopotamia was already taming the spark. Deep in the Siberian wilderness, hunters speak of a hill animals refuse to approach. The locals call it the Fire Eagle's Nest, a cone-shaped mound of stone over 130 feet high. The ground around it is scorched. Trees twist unnaturally. Birds won't nest, and compasses spin without warning. Explorers describe sudden nausea, equipment breaking, GPS signals cutting out. Geologists say it could be the scar of an underground explosion, like a cousin to the Tunguska event of 1908, when a blast flattened 800 square miles of forest. But the evidence doesn't fit cleanly. No crater, no meteor fragments, no volcanic activity. Only a dome-like structure at the top, and crushed limestone scattered around it. For the local Evenki people, the explanation is older. Their legends speak of sky spirits who struck the earth with fire, leaving behind a cursed nest that no animal dares to cross. Scientists still call it a geological anomaly. But for more than a century, every attempt to drill or probe the site has failed. Tools break, electronics malfunction, and teams retreat sick and shaken. The Fire Eagle's Nest may be just a quirk of geology, or a reminder that some places resist being measured, as if the land itself is guarding a secret. High in the Andes, the city of Cusco and the fortress of Sacsayhuaman hold walls that shouldn't exist. Massive stones, some the size of small cars, others weighing over 100 tons, fitted together so tightly, not even a razor blade can slide between them. No mortar, no cement, just rock locked into place like a 3D puzzle. Earthquakes that flattened Spanish colonial buildings left these walls untouched. 5 centuries later, they still stand, unshaken, seamless, indestructible. How did the Inca, who had no iron tools, no wheels, and no written language, achieve such precision? Archaeologists believe they chipped each stone with hammerstones, shaping them over months until they fit. But when modern engineers attempt to recreate the technique, they need cranes, lasers, and computer modeling. And Cusco isn't unique. Ollantaytambo, Machu Picchu, and other sites repeat the same uncanny stonework. Irregular, interlocking blocks that flex and absorb seismic shocks better than most modern buildings. Local legends point to Viracocha, a culture bringer god who supposedly taught the ancestors how to soften stone and move it. Myths? Maybe. But they show one thing. Even the people who inherited these walls weren't certain how they were built. The stones of Cusco don't just resist earthquakes. They resist explanation. In the deserts of Qinghai, western China, a barren mountain hides a puzzle inside its slopes. Protruding from the rock are metal tubes, some as thick as an arm, some plunging straight down into the dried lake bed below. Tests in the early 2000s dated some of these so-called Baigong pipes to 150,000 years old. That's long before human beings are thought to have mastered metallurgy. Stranger still, the pipes connect in T-shaped junctions, branching networks that resemble a primitive plumbing system. Some even look welded. Skeptics insist the pipes are not pipes at all, but fossilized tree roots that absorbed minerals over time. Others suggest they could be the work of iron bacteria, microscopic life that leaves behind tube-like deposits. Both explanations are scientifically plausible, yet neither fully accounts for the sheer size, symmetry, and layout of the network. If natural, the Baigong pipes are a geological trick. If artificial, they suggest technology from a time when no civilization should have existed. Either way, they remind us that the line between artifact and anomaly isn't always clear. At the dawn of the 20th century, divers exploring a Roman shipwreck off the Greek island of Antikythera pulled up a corroded hunk of bronze. Beneath layers of encrusted seawater damage lay something extraordinary. Gears, dozens of them, interlocked with astonishing precision. This was no statue, no ornament. It was a machine, built over 2,000 years ago. Today, we know it as the Antikythera mechanism, often called the world's first computer. Hand-cranked, it could chart the movements of the sun and moon, predict eclipses, track planetary positions, and even mark the cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. In 2021, researchers at University College London digitally reconstructed the device, proving it worked as a complete model of the cosmos, something that shouldn't have existed in the ancient world. Nothing of comparable sophistication appears in history for over 1,000 years. Where did the knowledge come from? Was it the lost culmination of a Greek engineering tradition, destroyed with the shipwreck and forgotten by history? Or a lone genius centuries ahead of his time? The Antikythera mechanism is proof that advanced technology did exist in the ancient world. What we don't know is how much more was lost when that ship sank, and how different history might have been if it hadn't. From mysterious circles beneath the sea to gears spinning centuries before their time, these 7 discoveries don't just challenge what we know. They dare us to question how much of our past has slipped through the cracks. Some may one day be solved by science, others may remain forever in that twilight zone between myth and fact, but all of them remind us of a bigger truth. Human history is anything but settled. Which one do you think hides the biggest secret? The Baltic anomaly, the walls of Cusco, or the ancient computer lost to the sea? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to keep standing at the edge of history with us, where every artifact could rewrite the story of our world, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Stone and Bone, because the next mystery uncovered might not just change the past, it might change the way you see the future.